Hi, I'm Patrick Gotimer with Virginia Purple and Senior Sport and Recreation Management major at James Madison University. I'm here today with my friend and classmate, Zack Graham, to talk about the start of the NBA season. Zack is also a Senior Sport and Recreation Management major at James Madison, and he has coached multiple basketball teams for 5 years now, most recently at Lord Fairfax Community College, and he interned this past summer with the Brooklyn Nets. Welcome, Zack.
Hey, how are you doing, Pat?
Doing okay. I want to talk to you about last night's matchups to start. So to start, the Chicago Bulls at the Miami Heat. Given the 107-95 victory, how do you feel about the Heat's chances to three-peat?
Well, first I want to say I'm excited that basketball is back. And as for the Heat, well, honestly, I believe they are the favorites. However, historically, it's very unlikely a team can make it back to the finals 4 times in a row. I think the defense came out last night in playoff form, creating havoc out on the wings, leading to the fast break. If they can consistently shoot like they did last night from deep, they'll be a hard team to beat. I do however, see them struggling against the bigger teams like Indiana and Brooklyn. The way you beat them is by forcing Bosh and Haslam to become good post defenders, and by going underneath the screens like San Antonio did last night, or did in the finals, and making LeBron and Dwayne Wade jump shooters. If you can figure a way to do that, I think you have a good shot against them. But we'll see how it goes. Right now, I still have them as the favorites in the East.
All right, so Derrick Rose also made his first appearance since tearing his ACL last season. Despite last night's loss, what do you think about his performance?
Well, he struggled. He struggled to get it going shooting-wise. But I did think that when he did want to get to the cup, he did pretty much at will. But I think he shot a lot of shots deep, but that might have been just because of the deficit that they were trying to dig their way out of. I hope that maybe he can facilitate the offense a lot better going forward. Get the bigs involved, attack down low, and when he does that, that's what really makes him the MVP type player that he was. But as for right now, he's a little rusty. We'll see. I feel like he will get it going, and I think about before the season's over, he'll be one of the MVP candidates.
All right. Well, next we have the Orlando Magic with 87 points last night. Indiana Pacers with 97. Former Hoosier Victor Oladipo back in Indiana for his NBA debut. He gets a warm welcome. Is there pressure from Orlando fans to welcome him just as warmly, and could this hurt his reputation in Orlando?
I don't think so. I think once they get to watch him, his reputation will be very easy to see. This guy was my favorite college player coming out of the draft last year. I told anybody that would listen to me, he's the real deal. I mean, he was an elite defender coming out of college and just a superb athlete. And you know what? He can shoot the three. He's not a consistently great shooter, but, I think he's a much better shooter than a lot of people give him credit for. I think that if he can continue down this path, you got to see the Russell Westbrook-like comparisons. Everyone else is saying it. I've been saying it for a while. I think he actually has a chance to be better. I think he's a better shooter than Russell, and I think he's honestly he makes smarter basketball decisions. Obviously, Russell's an elite point guard, and he's got a long way ahead of him before he's at that level. But he has a bright future, and he's obviously my favorite for Rookie of the Year.
All right, so next we have the Clippers, 103, upset by the Los Angeles Lakers, 116. A big LA matchup last night, and you expected players like Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, Kobe Bryant to steal the show, but it was actually just the opposite. Share with us what happened. Well,
Kobe had his Achilles injury before the playoffs last year. He didn't play last night, and he won't be playing for a majority of the early on season. But I will say that the Lakers played good. They played, Showtime basketball, Mike D'Antoniio style, what he was brought in here for. They attacked with Paul Gasol. Paul Gasol had a reemergence, looked like 3 years ago. Playing well in the post, and had a lot of turnaround. When he's doing that, that's what makes him difficult to guard. The question is, can him and Nash stay healthy throughout the year? And if they can, they'll be a good team. As for the Clippers, I think that it's gonna take a little time to get that Boston Celtic defense going, the way Doc Rivers wants them to play defense. And if they buy in, I really do think they can be a force. I see a lot of comparisons with, that old Celtic team with DeAndre Jordan looking at like a Defensive Player of the Year type year, kind of like how Garnett was playing. And with J.J. Redick shooting the ball like that, I kind of see a Ray Allen if he's shooting the ball like that, he fits that Ray Allen role nicely. And with Chris Paul running the show, kind of like Rondo. Now, if they could just get Paul Pierce wing in there, I think they really could be a contender. But going forward, we'll see how it goes.
All right. So the big stat of last night, the Lakers had 76 bench points, which is unheard of, and then the Clippers had just 34. 22 of those Laker points came from Xavier Henry, who after the game said the Lakers are for real good this year. What does this bench play mean for the Lakers, and do you agree with Xavier Henry's comment?
I like the kid's enthusiasm, but we're going to have to ask him to do it over 82 games, not just one time. There's been a lot of one-time performances by these young kids like that, and the whole world's watching. He came to play last night. They look young, they look athletic, and they look ready to run, just how D'Antonio likes them. But I just see that I don't see them continuing this down the line. They made a lot of big shots last night, and they might be able to, but they're probably looking at an 8th and 9th seed with that team last night, and I don't expect them to keep that bench up. And I do think the Clippers have a much better bench with Jamal Crawford and Matt Barnes. They've got a lot more experience, and I think that will come into play down the line.
All right, well, Jamal Crawford, last year's NBA Sixth Man of the Year, but that's all for last night's games. But we have tonight's matchup, so we've taken the top 5 games to watch for. Zach's going to make his picks, and we'll get started. The first one we have is a team you hold with very high regards. You did your internship with them. The Brooklyn Nets are in Cleveland. They're taking on the Cavaliers. Who do you have and why?
Well, I have to go with my Nets. I think they got the best starting 5, and I think they're going to make teams match up with them at each position, and any one of those guys can score. And another thing about Brooklyn is they're a deep team. Andre Karolinko is not playing tonight, but he was probably one of the off-season steals of the year, getting him to come for the mid level. But I see Brooklyn really going to town with the big wings versus Cleveland's undersized 2 and also slower 3 in Earl Clark and Deion Waiters. I just don't think they can match up with Paul Pierce and Joe Johnson. The question is, though, is Paul Pierce's toe injury going to limit his ability tonight?
Next, we have the Miami Heat in Philadelphia. The Heat traveled from Miami last night to Philadelphia today. Does this have any effect on the game?
No, I don't think so. I think I see Miami going into town and probably taking care of a young and inexperienced 76ers team pretty easily tonight. I do think that they might start off slow. That could be something we could see tonight, just that first road game and a lot of energy. And I think the 76ers are a young team that want to show that they are NBA players, that they get paid too. But I do think that the Philadelphia 76ers are going to be lottery contenders this year for some of the best players in the draft next year, with Andrew Wiggins, Julius Randle, Jabari Parker, obviously the big 3, Marcus Smart. They got a bright future ahead of them, and I like what their GM's doing a lot of analytics and that nature, but I just don't think it will happen tonight.
All right, well, we also have two young teams coming up next. The Detroit Pistons will play host to the Washington Wizards. Who do you have, and who are you looking to step up for in their first games of the season?
Well, originally I had the Pistons, but obviously tonight with the 2 injuries to their backcourt with Brandon Jennings and Rodney Stuckey not playing tonight, forces Chauncey Billups into the lineup and Will Bynum into the lineup, and I don't think that matches up well for Detroit. Washington should be able to take advantage of that situation with John Wall and Bradley Beal. I just think they're going to be too quick for that backcourt. And however, if they can get the front court game going with Josh Smith and Drummond Monroe. Drummond had a fantastic summer league, and he looks ready to break out. It's going to be a good game, and I still expect it to be close. But right now I got Washington pulling it out just barely.
All right, so the Lakers, like the Heat, have a quick turnaround. They're headed up to Golden State tonight. Are you looking for their bench to step up again tonight, or do you expect the starting 5 to play a larger role in tonight's game? And who do you have winning?
Well, on the road, you lean on your veteran players, like your starters, like Paul Gasol. But they're going to need their bench to come out if they have any chance of winning. And Golden State team is for real. They're young and they're ready to break out. With the addition of Andre Iguodala this offseason, they look prone to make a run. Steph Curry had a breakout playoffs as we all watched, and he just became one of the elite shooters in the league. But I think I'm Golden State winning that game tonight, but it should be a shootout and one of the most exciting games of the night.
All right, and lastly, we have Memphis taking on last year's Western Conference champions, the San Antonio Spurs. You said that this might be tonight's best game for basketball fans. Why do you think that, and who do you have winning?
Well, for the hardcore basketball fans, this is exactly what kind of game you like. It's defense. These two teams don't like each other. There's going to be a lot of rebounding and a lot of boxing down, a lot of shoving. But it's not exciting basketball. San Antonio never is, nor is Memphis. But man, you got to admit they're winning. Their winning ways just always. That is the excitement, I guess. I have San Antonio winning. I think the addition of Marco Bellinelli this year is going to be too much. He had a great playoff run with Chicago last year, and being able to shoot the ball like he does and play defense. With Kawhi Leonard coming off strong, Danny Green, they got a lot of shooters and a lot of guys that Tony Parker can distribute. They're going to run a lot of that spread offense and dish it down low to Duncan and have him make decisions. But with Memphis, I think obviously Zach Randolph and Marcus Gasol, you're going to have a hard time putting them away. They rebound well. They play